Morning, everybody. 8:16 a.m., July 31st. Last day of the trading month of July. So be cognizant of that. Usually in the afternoon. Sometimes there's some games at the end of the day because it's the month end. Now, hope everybody had a good weekend. I sure did. Here at the Jersey Shore. Very nice. Very nice. Beach pool. All that. Really good. Um, what's the market doing, right? Well, before we do that, introduce myself. My name is Steven Gonzalez. Welcome to my channel. Use volume and market profile to find structure in the market. Stay on the right side of the trade, right side of the strength in the market. We also use supply and demand, excuse me, gamma exposure levels. Okay. And the most traded price of the week and the month. Those are rolling numbers, right? They're not absolute week and month, they're rolling. Just to be clear on that. And just want to welcome you to my channel. Not sure who's here. Maybe it's Chief. Maybe it's Win. Not sure. Those are the loyal listeners that speak up sometimes. Hopefully there's some new ones that pop up. But without that, subscribe. Please set an alert if you haven't already. Always can follow me on. Oh, well, thumbs up will work too. But you could always follow me on Twitter at Gonzo719. Trying to become a little more active on Twitter. Okay. And without further ado, let's get into some futures. What's going on with the futures market? What's going on with our stocks that we trade? What's going on with the top sector stocks and as well as the sectors, right? So we're going to get into that. Boom. Okay. Start the week, right? The VIX is up 3.6%. Okay. Now, why is that? Maybe because there's Amazon and Apple reporting this week. AMD. Just saying. All right. Now, crude. Crude is up another percent. It's at $81.45 a barrel. Now, I've been talking about this for a little bit of a while now. Headline CPI. Okay. One of the reasons this headline CPI dropped off the map was because crude was kept down below like $70 a barrel for a while. Well, now it's at 81. Okay. So what's going to happen if energy starts going up? You might get an uptick in CPI. Okay. That would not surprise me at all. And it already is. It's going to get a higher reading. Energy is going to get a higher reading. Okay. Just keeping that in mind. All right. Keep reminding you guys of that. Bitcoin's up 0.29%, still under 30K. ES is up 0.15. The Dow's up 0.14. Nasdaq's up 1.14. Silver's up 0.14. 0.14, huh? Dollar is slightly up 0.13. Russell's up 0.110. Bonds are pretty much flat. 30-year bond slightly up, right? So 820 right now. Just reported. Like I said, that like buying a little bit in bonds would send the 10-year yield a little lower, which it has, right? So it's only down 0.1. Okay. It's not even. It's still at 3.96. Okay. Gold down 0.14. Ether's down 0.24. Okay. Now, let's get into the stocks I like to day trade. Okay. Here's the big leader right now, AMD. Okay. AMD. So AMD has been beaten down a little bit, holding the 110 support level. Okay. Earnings this week after the close on Tuesday. People probably trying to get ahead, maybe, of this earnings. Okay. If they have good earnings, it should take off. Okay. This is still a stock that's underneath its, I believe it's underneath the 20 simple moving. I gotta look at that again. We'll and maybe look at that in a second. All right. Amazon's reporting this week on Thursday after the close. That is up 1 point. So people might be trying to get ahead of maybe a positive earnings, right? Snow is up 0.5. Okay. Now that's about it for that. All right. Now, is there a laggard? A little bit. Microsoft's down 0.2. Meta's down 0.39. Okay. All right. So, just to bring some upgrades and downgrades into the mix, Adobe has gotten an upgrade. Okay. That is up 2.51% pre-market. Chevron. Okay. This is like what I'm talking about with oil, right? Chevron just got an upgrade. Chevron got an upgrade at a price target of 187. Chevron. Okay. Now let's move over to that so I can show you why Chevron's the leader. Look at that. It's up 1.64%. And I believe JP Morgan or Morgan, one of those, I think it was JP Morgan, is the one who upgraded it. See what I mean? If oil starts grabbing demand, okay, it gaining more attention for more demand, that CPI headline number is going to get hurt. Okay. Now, we got Roblox. Now, Roblox, when do they report? Just to check that out. August 9th. Okay. Now, Disney report. When is that report? Disney reports August 9th. Okay. So, they're up. And look, sympathy play. Exxon getting a little love, sympathy. Cat reports earnings this week. Okay. Laggards, UPS. UPS got a downgrade today. I'm not liking that. Now the reason probably it did is reaching that tentative deal with the Teamsters. Now I did see something on YouTube that was very interesting. It was a question on Patrick Bet-David's podcast, and he just asked his panel, "What do you think like an average worker at UPS makes?" Okay. And they all, like I think two of them said 55,000, 50,000, right? Well, with this new deal, the average worker at UPS is going to get paid $49 an hour, which is roughly 100 grand a year. So an average worker at UPS will get paid six figures. Okay, they were all shocked by that. Now, what does that mean for UPS? That's going to cost UPS more money on payroll, right? Well, what do you think UPS is going to do, though, in the long run? They're going to up the shipping rates to cover for it, right? They gotta cover that cost, and where's it gonna come out of? Our pockets, because they're gonna charge more, right? They're not just gonna take the hit. They can easily push that onto customers. Okay. Salesforce, they got a downgrade. They are down 1.5%. J&J, I'm owning the stock. I don't like it, but it's a long-term investment, so that's okay. They got rejected, I think, of a lawsuit for their talc. So that's a little negative news on Johnson and Johnson. Okay, let's move on. Sectors. Leader, energy. No surprise there. Followed by discretionary. What's discretionary? Tesla, Amazon, Home Depot. Okay, followed by semis, which we know that is AMD, Nvidia, right? Is there a laggard sector? No, there is not. There is not. Okay. That will wrap up the watch list. That will wrap up the watch list. Okay, so now we're going to move on to some news, some economic calendars, some earnings, right? We'll go over that briefly. So let's look at the earnings on tap for this week. Okay. So we'll put up the market news. Okay, so SoFi already reported it was good. They're already up pre-market. Okay. Who else of note? I wouldn't say any of these are huge market movers. But today after the close, let's see, Avis. Just trying to see if anything that's major, because there's a lot of energy this week reporting. Some healthcare too. Okay, so let's just look at the week, right? Tomorrow, Norwegian Cruise Lines, Uber, Pfizer, Caterpillar, Merck. So big health, some industrial, Caterpillar, Pfizer's health, right? Transports, okay. JetBlue, right? Then after the close, we have AMD, Devon, Starbucks, Pinterest, MicroStrategy. Big week in earnings, right? Space, right? So, and now on Wednesday you have CVS, Humana, Kraft Heinz. All right, pretty big week. PayPal after the close, Shopify, Qualcomm, Occidental Petroleum. That's Warren Buffett's buying a lot of that. Okay, you got Robinhood, Etsy. All right, Thursday you have Warner Brothers, Wayfair, ConocoPhillips. That's energy, Expedia, Moderna, healthcare. Right, Cigna, healthcare. After the close on Thursday, Amazon, Apple. Those are the big boys. Oof. Amazon after the close. I mean, Thursday after the close, Amazon and Apple followed by Coinbase. So you got crypto, Coinbase, Block, big, big. Airbnb, DraftKings, Fortinet, right? That's a big one. Thursday after the close, and then Friday we got Fubu, Nikola. Who else here? Dominion Energy. So that wraps up that. Okay. Let's go to some news fronts, right? Boom. All right, so here's some of the news that's come out. So Walmart, uh, Wall Street Journal reported that the retail giant has further cemented its interest in Flipkart through a 1.4 billion purchase of shares from a major investor in the Indian e-commerce group. Okay, Johnson & Johnson fell 1.7 after a judge dismissed the drug maker's second attempt to resolve tens of thousands of lawsuits over its talc products, like I just talked about. Goldman Sachs is the one who upgraded Chevron, right? Adobe upgraded up 2.5. Carvana downgraded. Stock fell 1.5%. SoFi stock rose 3.7% of their online personal finance company easily beat revenue expectations. Wayfair stock rose 8.2 after Piper Sandler upgraded the e-commerce company to overweight. All right, so that's some news there. All right, this is where I wanted to see about Coinbase. Okay, so SEC asked Coinbase to halt all non-Bitcoin trading. So the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission requested that Coinbase cease trading in all digital tokens except for Bitcoin prior to filing a lawsuit against the cryptocurrency exchange, according to the Financial Times. In an interview, Coinbase chief executive Brian Armstrong told the paper that the SEC said, "We believe every asset other than the Bitcoin is a security." Armstrong added that the regulators then asked that Coinbase delist all of the more than 200 tokens it offers to customers. Armstrong refuted the claim, saying that agreeing to the shutdowns would essentially meant the end of crypto industry in the U.S. Instead, he said Coinbase decided to challenge the SEC's assertion in court. So the SEC has been angling to gain more control of the crypto industry, with Chair Gary Gensler arguing that most cryptocurrencies qualify as securities or tradable financial assets. Coinbase was sued by SEC last month for failing to register as a broker. Should the SEC win the case, it could set a precedent for the power regulators in the U.S. have over crypto businesses and potentially lead to more stringent compliance rules. For its part, the SEC told the FT that its enforcement division did not make formal requests for companies to delist crypto assets. It's also declined to comment on what the delisting would mean for the crypto industry. That is pretty big. That is pretty big. I don't know right now. That could make that Coinbase a little stagnant. They do report earnings, so they're going to get a move. Until then, I don't know if Coinbase is really going to move much because of that. Okay. Now, what do we have? What do we have here? So we had some Fed Kashkari says the Fed is willing to keep increasing interest rates. Right, so that's a little hawkish talk. He said, "I'm not sure when the Fed will be done raising interest rates. We're making good progress." That was in a CBS News interview. Okay. All right. Look at that. Today we have Fed's Goolsby speaks. Let me make this down to 1 star. Maybe we get that speak. No, that's not in there. Okay, that's okay. So let's look at the economic calendar this week. We got Chicago PMI 945. 10:30 is Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index. Tomorrow we have ISM Manufacturing, JOLTS jobs openings. Okay. Wednesday we ADP employment change. Thursday we have initial jobless claims. ISM services PMI. Okay. I only want this week. Why is it giving me? Okay. And then, of course, on Friday, unemployment and non-farm payrolls. That's the big one. Okay, that's the big one. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the daily chart. Let's move on to that daily. Yep. What's up, Wham? Yep. SoFi beat out. Talked about that earlier. All right, let's look at this chart. I actually had to correct this candle for some reason on this. So let's look at this. What we're doing here. Let's just go right here. Okay. Inside day. Right. Big candle. Bearish engulfing candle, and then we just closed right inside. Right. So kind of like a rest. Market took a rest. Okay. So we have now this support level that's pretty important. 452.30. Okay. Look at the overall volume. You can see we're getting some nice volume here. Okay. Move on to the weeklies. Now I added back the volume profile of the weeklies for one thing, right? You look at high volume nodes. So from the past, there's a high volume node at 466.95 called 477. That could be the next stop. 477. Okay, right there, right in the middle of this range here. A lot of volume there. That could put up a little pause right there. 477. Keep that in mind, right? These weeklies obviously we're just one time frame and higher each week. Okay. Here's the monthlies. We're stopping. You can see right here at this resistance at these 3 monthly candles. Okay. We do have a weekly resistance at 472. So let's go back here for a sec. Let's go back there for a second. So you can see right here. See that resistance in the week? That was strong resistance back in 2021 into 2020. Yeah, weekly candles all in 2021 all hit their heads up here. And then look what happened. Boom. That was the last touch. So 472.19. Keep that on your mind. All right. Now we have the profile, right, for the last month and for each week. Okay. Just looking at this, you notice that the most traded price of the last month is 454. Price is above that, right? So this is bullish. This is bullish. You're holding above the most traded price. The most traded price of last week was this, pretty much this week. So we're holding above that. Okay. Okay. Let's move on to the Qs. So here's the Qs. Okay. So we can see the big run up, the pullback. So this 375.46 level is a key support level. Okay. Market has not been able to really break that and hold it. You can see right here with support, support, support. Tried to break it, couldn't. Tried to break it, couldn't. And then one last attempt, couldn't. Okay. So this is our range right now, everybody. Here's the range in the NASDAQ right here to basically right there. I mean, we could extend this. Let's extend this out just to show you here. That's the range. That's the range we're working in. Okay. Now price is right now at 384.26. 384. So we're right at the highs. Okay, so we're at the tip of this range. So 384.10 is a very key resistance level. Okay, break it. Do we go up to 387? Right. Very key. You'll notice this in the market profile as well. Okay, let's go to the weeklies. So here we go. Here's the weekly. This is a 5-year profile. Okay, you can see some volume right here at 398.61. Could be the next stop. Okay, we zoom in here to see here. We're right. It's like 1 week came up here. That week broke. It came under, and look, we're testing this again. So now we have supply here. You know, we have sellers in here that could get hurt if you go this way. Boop. Okay, keep that in mind. Just look at the monthlies. Okay, you can see these monthly candles here with resistance, resistance, support. That's why this level is important, 384. Okay, right there, right for you to see. Here is the profile. You have a lot of volume at the top here. Okay, most traded price is 376. We're holding above that. This is bullish. Okay, can't say it's not. It's bullish. Under 376, yeah, that can make the market move down. You hold it, it's bullish. Okay, moving on to the Dow. Here's the Dow. You can see big level here, and I kept talking about that. I said this is going to be this was cut off right here. It actually had nothing above here, and then boom, the Dow just broke out. Right, broke out. So what have we been doing in the Dow? A little different, right? It's not really any technical beauty here, right? It's just doji candle on Friday, right in the middle of the range. Where are we now? 355. So we're right there. Okay, not a lot of edge there. Okay, bounced right off that AEMA daily right there. Whoop, perfectly bounced. Okay, let's look at the weeklies. Right, weeklies looks very similar to the last 5 years. Right, look at that beauty, at that price. Oof, 337 was such a big price. You know, you got all-time highs at 369. Okay, let's get in a little closer here. So a lot of resistance over here. Okay, that's why this is kind of slowing down. Okay, take a breather. You can see in the monthlies, 3 monthly candles right here causing that resistance. Not a surprise. Now, look at this. This is pretty bullish. Okay, 357, I mean 354 right here, 44 around the most traded price of the last month. We are holding that. I mean, it's not even pulling back. Pulled back here on that day, the year curve control Bank of Japan. But look at that. Beautiful, right? So that gives room, right, to pull back here possibly. We go higher, but it's just queuing up energy. Queuing up energy, okay? Okay, let's end it with the Russell. So the Russell, you can see the most traded price is down here, all the way down here, big range, and then boom, lifted off, right? Took off. Right now we have a range in the Russell, big range, okay? Big range and big something's. I'm really liking the Russell, okay? So we have a big range from here to here. Let's extend this out. That's your range. Where's the Russell now? 196.91. Right there. Right at the highs of Friday. Okay? So, you really need to see it. It failed to break out here. It went all the way back down. I was looking to, I'm not being honest with you, I was looking to enter here. I was looking to enter. But then it gapped up, see? I wanted that pullback. Okay? Now, you have to see if it breaks here. Okay? Moving on to the weeklies. You can see the weeklies. I still have this fib. Boom. 50%. It still hasn't reached that. That's 203. But you can see this right here. This resistance has just been resistance, right? It's just like, wow. Came up here. Came up here. Now, like I said, I'm looking for it to at least go to around the two, right here, around 200, maybe 200. If it moves up, it should go up to at least 200. And then maybe pull back, right? There's the monthlies. You can see it. Okay. So 50% Fibonacci move, 203. Okay, keep that in mind. Really liking it. Look at this profile. Very, very bullish. Look how much volume is here. 2 weeks in a row, just holding, holding. Okay. What does that mean? That means the most trades, the most shares have been traded here. So it's queuing up for a huge move. Huge, because these weeks, this last week was the same as the month. Weekly most traded price is the monthly most traded price. Whenever that happens, big move is coming. Big move. Okay, so this can go that way or this way, but right now it's queued up to go higher. Okay, really liking the Russell. Could possibly even be a straddle play because the down here the volatility is still low. Okay, just to give you, and I would do a debit straddle, and just to let anybody knows, for to know that is you're gonna get paid if it breaks out to the upside or the downside. That's how the straddle works. You're just betting on a big move. You're betting that it won't stay in this balance area. Okay. Okay. Let's get really quickly. It took a little longer than I wanted to talking about that, but it's important. Okay, so let's get into the triple-headed monster. Really look at this bond market, like it's so disconnected. So big move up, but now we're like trading inside this big candle. Okay, really the bond market is so disconnected right now. So smart money, but it's just disconnected right now. I mean, 10-year yield went all the way up here to 4.0. Okay, and you can see it rose really high up here, sold off. Now it's making a move again, but now it's like it's kind of trying to decide what it wants to do, right? And the VIX, people say it's broken. It's just full complacency down here at the lows, down at 1385. Okay. Now, just to give everybody understanding of the VIX, just nothing crazy complicated, is the VIX prices in 30 months out fear. Okay. And I was explaining to Rosita over the weekend where she was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." I'm like, VIX is 30 day. It's a month out fear, right? So think about now. That only pricing out people who are buying insurance for the month, right? A month out. So that's why these zero DTEs and SPX have changed things, because institutions and banks can do 1 day like fear. 1 day they could buy. There is a 1 day VIX. I think it's VIX 1 day, right? So this people aren't going to buy 30 days out of fear, okay, if they can do it in a day. So that's why it kind of can seem the VIX is broken, okay? Now, let's go to the dollar. This is crazy friggin' wicks. It's almost easier to look at in the weeklies here. So we bottomed out at 99, made up, and now we're kind of just range bound. So we have to see, right? Longhorn stays down here in the low. That's good for equities. That's good for commodities. Okay. Okay. Let's go to my favorite market profile, volume profile. That's my baby. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, we're going to go over all the things we normally go over very quickly. Okay, well, I mean, not quickly, just not hard to just go over, right? And it always keeps you on the right side, okay? Right side of the market. That's what you want to be. This is our structure, right? This tells me, okay, I want to wait for this to happen. This is my, like, sergeant if I was in the military, right? Okay, I'm going to wait for my orders, right? This keeps me kind of sane and not chasing price action, which is not easy to do. Not easy to do. Okay, so what do we have? We basically have a this is the rolling week, so we basically have a little. We don't have quite big excess at the top. That's because of this weak high right here. Get into that later, but that's why you don't have quite the excess. You do have some excess here, but we're pretty much balanced, right? Where's price? Well, price is bouncing up a little higher, right? Right here. We're right now above. It's a small gap, but we're 46.18. We're above the highs of Friday. Okay. Let's look at our big levels. Most traded price of the week, which also happened to be the most. Actually, let me discount that. Let me discount that. Because this is the 24-hour chart. So I tend to stick by the real-time trading hours. So what happened on Friday is the most traded price of the month and the week are lined up. And what is that price? We're looking at 45.84. That's our line in the sand. Okay, stay above this, you're bullish. 45.84. I showed you in the SPY as well. Okay, so above it, you got to be bullish. Below it, you can start thinking, all right, can we go lower? Let's look at the relationship of Friday's high, Friday's low, overnight high. Okay, so we're gapping up slightly, really slight. Okay, let's look at the inventory. We're barely balanced. Look at the midpoint of the session. Opened here, you have this much short, this much long. Balanced. Okay, that's very balanced. Chances are we only push higher and we go back to figure out what the market wants to do. Okay, so that is not a lot of edge. This doesn't interest me much when you're gonna gap into supply. Okay, we have a supply zone that's held. Okay, now let's look at the nuances. Weak high, 46.33 in the futures. This is a weak high, so that's either going to act as resistance or it's going to act as a launching point for the market to go higher. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into what you want to see, because we have a range. The new ranges are, there's the high and there's the low bracket of the range. Here's our big tipping point. Okay, that's it. That's the structure. Balance high, balance low, big level in the middle. We're gapping up slightly. So let's go into a little bit of a plan. Okay, so since we're above that level, I'm going to lean bullish, right? And what's just been happening is I think it just broke this supply at a supply zone right here. That looks like it got broken. Okay, so I'm probably going to have to remove that. So that takes out that supply. All right, but then you got this big supply here. Okay, so now that's definitely broken. So I'm going to remove this supply zone. All right. So bullish scenario, we're gapping up, right? It's a little one, but you can gap and go, which means you can start to test that 46.33. Okay, we can pull back, fill the gap, which is not a big pullback, then we can go, right? So, or we can come back, test the most traded price of Friday, and we can go too. Okay, so now that we know that, I'm going to tell you this. This is your mini line in the sand right here, the most traded price of Friday. So we're going to work with that level. So you're able to supply. So this is what I would like to see. Two things. If it gaps and goes, fine, go without me. Go without me. Okay. And one or two things are going to happen. Okay. It can go boom. And you go. Doesn't look back. It can go up. Now I'm going to be interested if it pulls back here to go like that. Okay. You get a little weakness, which does not mean bearish. Okay. You can come back and test. This is the big test here. The most traded price of Friday. If it comes down here, even if it does this, but it recovers and you start making those, you know, higher lows, you can test Friday's high, overnight high, and we can, then you go to that level, right? And then you can do this, okay? Now, we have to talk about this as well. Remember, this is the mini line in the sand. The big one is down here, 45.85. So, if the market happened to come down here, this is the big test. Can it hold? Also got the 90 MA daily here. Can this hold? Got a demand zone here too. If it does, that's the launch point. All right, you got that there. Okay, we're going into a supply zone with a key resistance area, right? So what you could see is come up here, boom, hit that level. Then you have the end of this supply zone would be resistance. Now, if you get some weakness, right, people might try to buy that level. If you dip under it and you start holding, you can start getting weakness. Now, here's the next move. If you don't come back to Friday's high, you start going back into range. You could hit here. Now remember, I'm going to bearish, so I obviously know each point I'm talking about could get dip buyed because I just showed you. But if it dipped under here, boom. Now we're falling, and we're gonna probably test Friday's lows in this big level. Okay. Now each point, like I said, could be a dip buy, but I'm going with the bearish. If you break that demand and hold under here, wow, you're going to the other end of the balance. Okay. So be on the lookout for that. Like I said, this is scenarios. Doesn't mean that it has to happen. All right. Let's go to the NASDAQ. Okay. Getting close to wrap up time here, so Let's look at the NASDAQ. All right, so NASDAQ. The NASDAQ has definitely more of a bullish imbalance to the upside than the ES. Now we have a huge level in the NASDAQ, 159.04, 159.03, right there. Huge resistance where there has been, we haven't been able to break it. Okay, big time resistance. We just tried overnight right here and failed, which is fine. Which is fine. Okay, big time resistance. And let's look at this double distribution here. This is what I'm. This is what looks juicy. Okay, there's a lot of volume here. No excess. Okay, this is queuing up for a pretty a nice move. Okay, we have supply overhead up here that could take the excess up there for the profile. Okay, let's look at our key level down here. Okay, down there. Now, what is that? Around, let's just call it 156, 15,600. That's the line in the sand for the NASDAQ. You're bullish, or anything over that, you're bullish. Okay. Now, let's look at where we're at, right? Where are we? Now, this is interesting. All right, so I'm going to really try to zoom in here to show you this nuance. Okay, so bear with me here. We're going to get in close so I can show you this. Okay, this is market profile terminology, but bear with me. Just want to make sure you guys see this, okay? Very important too. Okay, so let's look at this. This is important, okay? So NASDAQ has single prints. Look at this right here. Not a lot of volume, okay? Single prints all the way up here. That's a toothpick. Okay, here's the elephant. So you know if you come down here and there's volume and weakness, we're clearing these. Okay, that's one thing to note. Now, let's look at the high of Friday. The high, look at this right here. That is called a poor high. Right here it says it. I don't need that to tell me, but that's a poor high. Okay, that means that longs had poor location. Okay, and shorts came in. They had longs had poor location, couldn't go higher, and it had to go lower. However, poor highs get corrected. Now, what does that mean? That means that the profile never ends having a double top like that in TPOs. It usually breaks it. Now, you can add, this doesn't count as breaking it in the overnight because it's overnight. Okay, so that double top is very juicy and it's very next to this key resistance area. Okay, now let's look at the relationship. Friday's low, Friday's poor high, overnight high, overnight low. Okay, inventory. Here's the open. You got short, long, balanced. Not a lot of edge. Now you see NASDAQ is pulling away from that big resistance. Okay. Now, what you have here is the same kind of thing I'm going to tell you that I said in the ES. Okay. This is your little mini line in the sand. The most traded price. Right here. Right there at 158.49.50. Right there. That's what you want to see hold. Okay, we're pulling away from this. Now you have a gap too that has not been filled right above here. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. Got a gap, unfilled gap, big resistance there. Big. Okay, we just tested it and it's the market told us we couldn't go higher. Okay, it doesn't mean you can't break it out, but it's making more liquidity up there. More liquidity is going up there. Okay, so let's pull out now that you know the nuances. All right, let's get back to where we're at. Okay, so we can see levels that I want to show you guys. Okay, let's get into this now. I'm really liking that resistance area. I mean, it's really juicy. Look at my chops. Okay, let's do it. All right. Now this is going to drive my trades in any kind of technology stock, right? NASDAQ. So let's talk about bullish. All right. I just told you our plan. Now that supply zone to the tick has held this supply zone. However, it's been filled, so which means that it makes it weaker now. Okay, any resting orders here, okay, got filled, and now when you come back up, it weakens the supply zone. Okay, so we're talking about a bullish scenario. Price is here. If it pulls back, this is our test. Right in here. First test. Can it hold it? If it does, look to tag this big resistance level of 159.04. If it pops, you could go right to this supply. Of course, it can pop, pull back, and then go there. Okay. Another scenario is overnight lows. Can it hold that? And that can go also higher. Now remember, we're very bullish. We're way over this level, okay? So you have to think, and this is going to be a lot, but next test lower will be these single prints, right? If that went to Friday's low and bounced off the 9 EMA daily, that's also, I'm just showing you the dip buys because this is what this market's doing. Come down to this level, demand zone, and the big level, that could also be the dip buy. Okay? Sellers. Okay, if you're bearish, what you want to see, a push up here. Test this, break it, come back under it, hold under it, hold under it, start to get weakness. Test the most traded price, kill that, go to the overnight lows. Now you have these single prints here. There's a toothpick. You get volume and weakness. What's going to happen? Right? Everybody's along from here, 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 here. They're going to start covering. Single prints get taken out. Still have more single prints here. Could fall all the way back to here. All right. Then you got the 20 simple moving average. End of the balance here. That would be the test. And then you could fall like a rock. Okay. We got our plan, guys. All right. And girls, we got our plan. Subscribe. Set an alert. Stay on the right side with me. Okay. Subscribe and set an alert. All right. As always, give me a thumbs up if you like what you saw. That helped me out. Okay, you can always follow me on Twitter at Gonzo719. All right. So we have our plan. Really feeling good. Okay. So a couple key levels I'm looking at. You want to see AMD break 115 and hold it. Okay. I still have to go into some of my levels to see what I'm liking as far as other stocks. Right now waiting for some, Tesla. Let's talk about Tesla. Tesla's got a hold 265. Okay, but 270 is big resistance in Tesla. Netflix got a hold 425 and a big resistance of 430. Okay, those are some big levels I'm just seeing on my charts. Okay, Microsoft's got a hold 335. Let's see what else. Nvidia, huge positive gamma level of resistance at 470. Okay, so that's got to go over 470. Um, Coin is in negative gamma, which is not a place you want to be. Okay, underneath the gamma flip points, that's where coin is. Okay, so right now it's a negative gamma territory, which makes it very volatile. Okay, so for me to get involved, I want to see a break 101, 102. All right, right now I don't see, unless, like, remember, earnings are coming. Okay, earnings are coming, but up until the earnings, I have to see a break 101, 102 for me to be back to being interested. All right, it's just in too far negative gamma territory for me right now. What else? Meta's got a hold 322.5. Amazon's basically, remember, earnings are coming up, so as long as it stays above 128, that's bullish. All right, everybody, I'm out. Um, Good luck today. Stay green, and you'll hear from me tomorrow. Take it easy.